League Invitational panel as the CIS qualifier team Vegas Squadron are up 1-0 in this best-of-3 series. Newbie need a win here in Game 2 to become the third of 3 Chinese teams to drop their first-round playoffs here at this tournament. Let me bring back in my 4-man panel here, guys. Very hotly, oh my lord.
We should all do a pose. When it comes to us on the panel, we should all do one of those poses.
Cap,
That's
creative
great.
genius, ladies and gentlemen. No, I don't know. Are there obvious adjustments that Newbie can make beyond maybe going away from that Invoker in the 5th pick in the draft? Because
Bantry.
Bantry, okay.
Yeah, that's
all
the
right,
adjustment.
fair enough, fair enough. I know Lacoste, we really like that draft out of Newbie, at least through the first 4 picks.
I still go for Newbie's draft again. I would still go, even though there's 3 Protector. I hope they ban it this game as well, as Cap said. I mean, it's just insane. I think this is the strongest hero right now.
Yeah, you don't see that many heroes that have that kind of impact on offense and defense as the tree does in lane, and it just opens up so many things. It's one of those, like, even if you first pick it, you can build different lineups around it. It still works really well. So that's the versatility there. On the other hand, the favorite hero of yesterday, Jakiro, we did see that getting picked up first, an answer to tree in some ways, or something that helps you against it. But I think for Newbie rules, the last pick in this draft is kind of what it went off the rails a little bit for them. I think it was just a little bit too greedy and too susceptible to that Queen of Pain and the tree mid, and really just slowed them down. Beyond that, though, some positives. I think, again, their team fight coordination. Tactically, this is a very good team. They communicate very well. Faith might be, the most quiet person when he's on interviews or in person, but when it's game time, like, he's ready to go. He's yelling constantly, asking about spells, like, just very communicative in every sense. So I think their coordination and their teamwork is very precise. It's pretty good, but they need to shore up a little bit with the draft, and I think they'd be fine.
I have to say one more thing about Treant. He's not just defensive, he's offensive in the late game. During the mid game, he's providing vision. He's like a walking ward. And in the late game, when the BKBs are 5 seconds, with a blink, he can just set up the fight perfectly.
Yeah, I think that hero, I way overestimated the change to
Give into it, Alan. Give it into it.
I am.
Let's make wild accusations about what the patch is about based on only 2 days of information.
Look,
that's the way you should run a panel, Let's just
Thank
fluctuate
you for that
as much
advice,
as possible.
Cap. Well, you're going to get a chance in Manila. But no, look, whenever you see in a game like that that's close on both sides, whenever you see one hero have that big an impact on the pace of the game, that to me becomes ban material in your next draft.
So you're with us?
Are you proud of me?
Ban
I'm with
Treant
you.
Protector?
Yeah,
Treant Protector is OP. Come on, Ice Frog. What are you doing?
Well, I mean, he buffed him 8 patches in a row.
You know who else got 8 patches? Buff 8 patches in a row?
Rasta.
Rasta. Where is that hero? I can't
We saw
believe
it.
you actually thought the same hero that I would.
We saw it yesterday.
Where? Yeah.
Alliance.
Why hasn't it been picked today though? I feel like Jakiro and Shadow Shaman, like those 2 supports would have been picked up quite a bit for what I'm feeling with this patch and everything. And
You think Ross is that strong in lane though? That's
Yeah. I do.
Really? You like
he's
it?
a, he's a ranged damage protector. That's what he is. I looked at my damage one time. I was like, this new patch, I'm playing Clockwork. I'm going against the Shadow Shaman. I was like, this is fine. At least I have something to interrupt shackles and stuff. And this guy's hitting me, and I'm just like, what the hell? I click on him, 76 damage. I look at my damage, 56 damage. I'm just like, what? I'm melee.
No, that's a support, folks.
Like, I should have more damage than him. I'm a melee hero, but nah. Range Treant Protector, man.
And Phoenix, I'm waiting for Return of the Phoenix.
I agree with you there. We've been talking about that. But, Jack, you mentioned this. We mentioned this before. The first game, I feel like this is kind of Newbie's great riddle. SCCC much better, I feel, on the harder farming heroes, but that appears to be going against the grain of what we've seen so far in this patch. I really feel like they have to find a solution to that riddle. They have to get back to these drafts where he is that cleanup hitter, as you guys were saying before.
Yeah, they have to fit everything else into. Again, I really like Vegas. I've been a fan of their drafting since watching them in Dream League, covering them a bit more. I just like the 2 picks that they took away that were 2 Newbie strong points and created pressure points on Newbie. So I thought that was great from them, and Newbee also with the other Chinese teams as well, just kind of finding their place now. In the last few months, things have shaken up a little bit. You're seeing the LGD network of teams do really well now in China. CDEC just qualified for the Summit, then you have LFY and LGD in the finals of a bunch of qualifiers too. So it's kind of like like things will eventually turn around and shift again, and that's the phase that they're going through right now.
Yeah, so while we just have a minute here ahead of our Game 2 draft start, where has that come from? Because that organization looked for a number of months like it was a little bit down, and the games that I've seen recently, those squads, all three of them really have looked pretty good.
Well, they've made a couple roster changes. LGD has constantly been in flux with the offlane position. XZ is gone now, and then obviously LFY picking up Afu from SEA as well, and Inflame bringing it. So roster changes, trying to find something that fits their core players. Obviously, you have Maybe and trying to build a lineup around him. For CDEC, actually, they've been a team to watch out for a little bit. Like at the start of several regional qualifiers, like I believe for the Boston Major and for Kiev Major, they did very well in the group stage. But eventually they seemed to run out of gas at the very end against better teams, stopped them from going to lands. But they're finally able to break through this time and get through to a land. So a lot of potential there. And if they have more time to play with each other and figure out how to counter some of these teams that are performing well, it's a very tight-knit scene. Like people are very close to each other. So there's not that much distance between the teams either. So.
Is there a team in Chinese scene that consists of 5 new players that has a great potential?
So you're looking for the next team random, the next wings?
Yeah.
Well, it depends what you mean by new players. I mean, I think in some ways CDEC could fit that mold. They've had some issues maybe with drafting stability and consistency, which is also what we saw from Wings. Relatively unknown players, though some of them have, prior professional experience on the big teams too. So they might be a team to watch out for. We'll see how they do at the Summit coming up. They won't get that many other opportunities to play outside of China, though.
While we're talking about heroes that I'm looking forward to seeing that we haven't seen yet, no Axe yet.
No Axe.
I really want to see that Axe.
It's because we've gotten so much Bristleback from the Liquid game.
Clockwork really hurts him
and
too.
Then Clockwork is kind of, I think, the preferred active offlaner, I guess. Axe doesn't get, Axe is pretty dependent on jungle, but if no one's stacking for him, then jungle is less efficient for him in that regard, and then he's getting less out of it.
Have we seen as much stacking as you guys expected? Because back to the big jungle, I thought we were going to see a lot more stack meta, but the game's just been very fast. So they followed your advice. I was on board with you guys on this, and Newbee heard you. They're going to take out that Treant Protector in the first phase and pick up the Sand King early on, as they did in the previous draft.
Yeah, I'm glad they're sticking with Sand King. KP did such an amazing job. And the item build, so defensive, in and out, just buying so much time, kiting around with that item build.
10 seconds remaining.
Gives them a strong laning presence as well if they want to, put that in the offlane again or run it with the duo. One of the things maybe with Axe is good with a strong dual lane, but he can often be exposed if he's going solo into the offlane. Although that might seem counterintuitive, before he has those levels up, he's not that hard to take down or zone or kill. So that might actually hurt him in selection as an offlaner without a jungle that you necessarily want to send somebody to fall back on.
All right, Vega gonna go with their other signature supports, the Crystal Maiden and the Clockwork now. Crystal Maiden, one of Sioma's signature heroes throughout his career, but more recently they've actually had Sioma on the Clockwork and Silent on the CM. It's been very, very good for them.
People didn't believe me, but I believed in Synderen. I thought he was onto something. When they started running support Clockwork,
oh yeah,
I was like, I think that's the place that Clockwork can really shine, because he's not a bad laner. Cogs is incredibly disruptive. Battery Assaults on the right support is like a guaranteed kill. He can deal with aggro tri-lanes from a support, as a support, try versus try. He's not terrible, and he's even better against some of these solo offlaners or dual lanes. And then once you get to level 6, as long as you can get over that hump of the laning phase and finding your levels, then you're just like a regular old offlane Clockwork again. So, which is very valuable to have. In the previous patch, Clockwork didn't scale for you, so it felt terrible as an offlaner because you wanted a core that would scale. But as a support, it was perfectly acceptable.
The problem with that position 4 Clockwork is to get to level 2. I mean, on level 1, he's So you don't know what you want to go for, and with Crystal Maiden, she's gonna probably start in jungle. So you have a Clockwork as a, let's call him a lane support for a few minutes. That's not that strong. Again, a newbie with the same opening as the previous game. I just love THD or Jakiro.
In a patch situation where you expect the offlaner to get more or be able to scale a little bit better, then like Clockwork does appear weaker because it seems that he's very ult dependent. Like even if he scales, he just has more survivability. But that ult is expected usually to net 1 kill. And so compared to say more greedy cores that they've been running in the offlane, say in Abaddon or Magnus, he seems to fall behind. But from the support position, and this is another way to look at some heroes that can kind of trade up by position. If you're able to trade up from the 4 position on a core with a hook shot, with a cog, that always gives added value. I think that was a part of Magnus's value as well, with where from the 3 position, RP can trade up for a much higher core, and it's very hard to deal with.
I really like the way you put that. I think that there's also a lot of value, of course, for the same reasons in both the Sand King and the Clockwork. Those are just heroes that, depending on the lineup, can be either 3s or 4s. I do think that you're going to see less of the farming offlaner in this patch based upon what we've seen so far.
One more thing about that Clockwork, he struggles to get to level 2 and he struggles to get to level 6. Once he gets level 6, it's pretty much the same hero as your offlane hero. So that's the hardest part, the first 10 minutes.
It used to be right that the level 2 problem was somewhat mitigated by his ability to just cog and hold back the wave, and just get that XP under tower. But yeah, level 6 is always a concern. So Vega are going to take out the Lifestealer and the Terrorblade. Shadow Fiend taken out on the side of Newbie, one of the signature heroes for G, so no surprise there.
Ursa's still out there in the pool.
Radiant team pick.
I'm kind of curious about that, because I think Ursa is really difficult to deal with. I think from Newbie's perspective, they probably see it as we do have suitable heroes to deal with Ursa. We've got really good kiting mechanisms for both Sand King and Jakiro, and we have laning like offensive power. I think that's really big versus Ursa because he is all offense and no defense pre-level 6. You want to make sure that you have an offlane that can put pressure on him. Otherwise, these heroes like Abaddon, for example, from we saw from previous series, is that they don't have enough offensive power. Ursa overpowers you in that regard, and this 1v1 is just purely in his favor. He just runs at you and you can do nothing about it. But if you have like Sand King, who has a significant nuke and also has this Caustic Finale that's in lane, you have a dual lane with Jakiro even that is able to provide a lot of damage over time. You have to keep supports in lane to make sure the Ursa has a successful, because he doesn't really have a good comeback mechanism outside of Roshan, right? So if you have a bad laning phase and Roshan is shut down, Ursa actually spirals downwards very quickly.
Although I gotta say, the last few times Vega has played Ursa, they've run it. I think they ran it twice with G playing at mid, and at least one of them was in a rather unusual matchup that he did fairly. What was it? It was a ranged hero matchup, and he actually did just fine with his Ursa mid. So that may be a way that you can mitigate some of that that problem that is going to occur with the newbie supports if they match him in the safe lane.
Since newbie doesn't know if it's going to be Ursa mid or safe lane, they can't pick a melee hero for mid, so only ranged heroes.
Yeah.
No, I am very much against the mid Ursa for this patch. Yep. I don't know how you guys are feeling it, but I think mid Ursa was more of a last patch.
Last patch because of Ember Spirit.
Yeah, Ember
mostly.
and Jug.
Yeah.
And I think Shrine is also very helpful for the Ursa as well.
That's true too.
The loss of that is you're gonna feel it pretty badly. Newbie
Okay.
get another good anti-Ursa hero in the Weaver. Rubik against both Weaver and Sand King has mega value, so one of the few times that you're going to see a 4-5 that doesn't have like a whole lot of great scaling or anything. These are basically like 2 4.5 positions.
You're going to see that more and more, I think, in this patch, though. If the games continue to be played at the tempo that we've seen,
super fast. Yeah.
And that does tell you, of course, that this is going to be an Afterlife Clockwork on the Vegas side.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds.
Yeah,
remaining.
interestingly enough, if the drafts were reversed, I'd say there's some position, not now, of course, with the Tidehunter, but I'd say that there's some chance that we might see a support Weaver coming out of Vega. But no, that's definitely a core on the side of Newbie. That's going to be UU9's hero.
Why are they running Tide against Ursa?
And Rupik.
Are they aggro tri-laning against the Ursa?
Probably.
Yeah. Weaver, Jakiro, Sand King, and then Tide versus Clock. That's favorable.
Yeah, they're going to try and get that 1v1.
Might not be a Clock. It might be against something else. Oh, it actually is Clock. Sorry. Yeah, well, their tri-lane is super strong with Sand, Jakiro, Weaver. They don't have enough control for all of that, and Jakiro has such a high base HP at start. Also, I'm not sure about the armor, but the guy can tank.
But Vega, at that point, don't you just try and dodge by putting Clockwork against the tri-lane, and you put the Ursa against Tide, and you keep the supports, I think, with the Clock. In the try versus try, or at least the Rubik or something, and have the Crystal Maiden jungling, and you just like keep the Ursa in the 1v1 against Tide. That's what Vega want to achieve anyway.
Yeah, this is why maybe they're still hoping for a mid possibility if the draft allows for it, but the Queen of Pain, one of the staple SCC heroes back in their better days, it kind of prevents you from doing that. But talking about the Ursa, one of the other issues that Newbie is maybe trying to address in this draft is that the hero wants experience and levels. The same with the Clockwork. So if like one or both of them, ideally, if they're able to find a place to get up their levels, they have impact that much quicker, they threaten Roshan that much quicker, are able to fight that much quicker. If they can't do that based on laning, it could be a very tough early mid game for Vega.
All right, we're down to the last pick of the draft here for Vega. Who's it going to be for G against the SCC Queen of Pain mid?
There's not very many mids left.
Yeah.
Dragon Knight.
And it is going to be, okay, they're going to go, actually G plays a pretty good Dragon Knight. This is a hero that he's had some experience with during the course of his career, knows how to play these slightly unfavorable mid lane matchups. He's going to get his farm up. I thought Newbie were the better team going into this series. I'm less confident after game one. What do you guys think here?
I'm still not giving up on Newbie, especially again in the second pick. What they got again with a strong team fight lineup, strong push. I think it's going to be easy game for Newbie.
I'm leaning heavily in favor of Newbie this game because of the Queen of Pain mid and how difficult that matchup is for the DK. If you move the supports to help, then the Ursa or the Clockwork miss out on experience and get shut down. That'll stop their early game. I like Newbie's draft.
Yeah, I think Newbie showcased towards the end of last game that they were outplaying Vega Squadron. So in game 2, I think I'm going to lead with them still.
All right, guys, ride or die. I'll make it 4-0 Newbie on our panel for the second game in a row. We will see if they can keep the series alive. As I throw it out to our casters, Zeus needs mana. Here's Kalo Guy and Merlini.
Thank you so much, Nahaz and panel. Here I am with my bud Merlini, about to cast this one up. The whole panel,
give mana.
The whole panel has Newbie on this one. So how's Vega about to win?
I think I've gone against the panel every single time, and I'm actually doing pretty well for once.
Are you going against them again here?
Yeah, I'm going against
them.
You
are?
Yeah,
always. All right. Now I got to hear why, because the whole panel was convinced that Newbie get their comfort support staff. They have great team fight. This Weaver's a good matchup against the Ursa. But what is it now about Vega's lineup that you feel, confident that they should be able to pull this one out? Is it something about that fifth pick?
I think it's more so Newbie's mentality. I think it was a knee-jerk reaction picking the Quap after they lost to it last game. He's like, what the heck with this hero? And also, I think the Chinese teams are traditionally very slow to adapt to new patches. And I think
so you're looking past more of the draft and more just about, maybe based on Newbie's performance already?
The draft is not bad. I don't like the DK versus the Queen. I think it's a pretty terrible matchup. But Clockwork versus Weaver, I think, is very good. I think the Rubik's going to have a blast. I think the Crystal Maiden, the Root, very good versus Sand King, very good versus the Queen. So I think they have some inherently good skills that counter some of what Newbie has to offer. And I also don't think they're that great at contesting Roche. If they, let's say they ravage and kill one hero, even if it's a core, and then you just go in and do Roche with Ursa. I think that's pretty straightforward for Vega. So I see a lot of upsides for them, aside from the laning phase Queen of Pain versus DK matchup.
Looks like an early draw out here. Newbie could look to invade a bit, and that seems to be the game plan. Waiting on that high ground.
Draw more lines, Aloha Dance.
The Ursa. And Aloha Dance, not the artist. Runs back the other direction.
You can't draw straight lines with mice, dude.
Really?
If you can, you're just a magician. Can you draw straight lines with your mouse?
I mean, I can come closer than what he did.
I don't think you're trying to draw a straight line. But in MS Paint, straight line, you have to be some sort of...
Can you cheat and use hold shift? And
No. That's not drawing. That's creating a line.
You said make a line with the mouse. So
drawing a line.
All right, fair
with
enough.
The mouse.
I'll practice and show you I can do it. Here, though,
one of my teachers in like middle school, he like drew a
circle,
almost perfect circle. It was amazing. He used his arm as the radius though, and just like went.
Oh, I've seen like a video of that where he does sideways. And
yeah, dude, we were all amazed. I think we clapped for him after that.
Wow,
it was that impressive.
You should perform it sometime.
Well, if anyone draws a straight line in this game on the minimap, I will also clap for them. How about that?
Fair enough. Oh, early initiative onto the queen. You're saying this is going to be the weaker matchup, and this is how Vega want to deal with it now. It's going to force out the early tree eating there.
Yeah, he has a salve at least, but no shrine, not good. G is a very strong mid laner, though. I think people have forgotten about G just because he hasn't been on a good team in a while. But he's really
like,
good.
And he's been in Dota forever, man. He's a Dota 1 legacy kind of a player. And from what I remember, I don't know him to switch positions. I feel like he's been a mid laner like since the start almost, where we see like Silent, who's been support to carry and back to support. G has mostly fine-tuned the art of the mid lane.
Yeah, he's his OG mid laner.
Yeah, this is his home. And whether DK's in the meta or not, he'd probably visited many metas before too. Top lane, early telekinesis pullback. Can't get it? Yes, they can. Last hit's going to be there, and it's going to be first blood rewarded to Vega on this one. They will quickly get the takedown of Aloha Dance right after, though.
Easy for Vega, dude. They get the Ursa versus the Tidehunter matchup. That's one that you're definitely not looking at. That's probably way worse than the DK versus Quat matchup.
I mean, it's cojones from Newbie to kind of pick up the Tide, and obviously them banking on a better laning setup here. And the Ursa is hungry. Comes back and eats up the Dragon too. Newbie, I don't know if they're going to be forced to call an audible to switch the lanes up or get more attendance up here, but this could be balling out of control real quick for Vega at the start.
And you have Crystal Maiden Aura.
Oh, yummy.
Better than Coddle.
Already moving in. Look at this.
Oh, wait, what is it?
Aggro setup, pullback. What are you saying about Coddle? Better than Coddle?
Arcane Aura is better.
Well, now Coddle has that talent, so don't forget. Level 15, it gets the extra 300 mana, so.
But you can't mana all 5 heroes in the game from the laning phase.
Yeah, but he also has reduced cooldown, so that's nice.
Fanboy.
I do, you know, the blonde, you know, she's got that, though. Here we go, though. Kaka now at the mid lane here, looking go for a roaming setup. There's been a lot of attention from Vega at the other lanes, but man, look, Sayoma all over the place. Suddenly shows up mid lane to help out, but is it going to be too late? Can the Dragon's Blood be good enough to absorb the damage? No, they will be able to get off the dual breath and enough to be able to burn through the Dragon Knight. How ironic it is the THD taking down the Dragon Knight.
Wow, Faith. He tanked that tower up for Kaka. Kaka did have a salve, though, but yeah, they don't have enough mana. Arcane Aura is not going to be enough to secure you this.
Oh, a Chakra would have been good enough.
Chakra would have been good.
And Kaka will walk away with his life on this one, and Sunlayer game is back even 2-2-2.
Queen has a lot more denies than DK.
We've been seeing a lot of serious denies play. Obviously, with the benefit of 7.06, all the laners have been putting a lot more emphasis on stacking up that deny number quite a bit. It's had a little bit of value, getting people up from anywhere from a quarter to 2 quarters of a level ahead.
Yep.
How much of an impact is that? About how much it is? Maybe if you deny the whole way forward, you'll get a half a level from it in your mid lane phase.
Not that much. Melee creeps XP got lowered too.
Oh, you are right. CC will dish out the Shadow Strike here, and they'll continue to harass a bit, but as the levels do come in, Dragon Knight, his durability will also continue to go on the rise. He's got a full bottle to be able to fall back on top of that too. Poor Tidehunter. They have totally abandoned him to that top lane now, and he's going against a tri-lane that's about to swarm all the way around and catch him from behind the tower, but there's also action going to be happening here in the mid lane. A jump for G could be successful, and it will be with the deny. Was it deny? No, that was the Cog deny. They will take down G. Top lane, though, they were able to swarm onto KP at the same moment, but can the Ursa make it out? He somehow jukes around the corner, but ends up getting face-to-face with the Weaver here. Does manage to walk away from trouble as the support staff is still hanging around, and in fact, they're going to be making their own move in. Can they get the burst play? The Rocket even helping out, and it is going to be Vega on the takedown of the Weaver, too.
Ursa's huge, and it's 5 minutes, so they can shrine up if they want. He Oh, and who needs Shrine when you have Salves and Clarities and everything going on, and Arcane Aura?
Save the Shrine. Save it for something more important.
That was not their philosophy last game.
You're right. Especially, save it for G because he's going to take it anyways. G's in trouble, though, again. Mid lane. Newbie trying to make up for the trouble at the top lane by getting a lot done here and taking down G once again, and they will be successful in it. Kaka picks up that one, and a follow-up could be there in Silent, but here comes Sayoma. Steps in with a Fade Bolt, will earn them a takedown of Kaka, but they will still get the grab of the little blonde lady. Silent goes down.
So many creeps. Makes it very easy to dive.
Yeah.
Yeah, DK struggling a lot. His armor, again, is not particularly useful. I really like DK in drafts against like Slardar, Lifestealer, like these sort of heroes that rely purely on physical damage. I guess Weaver does, but he's kind of the only one that Dragon's Blood is really good against. They do have, I guess, this long duration stun versus the Queen and the
Do you feel like that might be why they did it?
Yeah.
They have the lockdown, the factor, and then someone to be able to really push forward with objectives too, because otherwise they have no one. They have no good tower hitter outside of this Dragon, so
that is worth the sacrifice of the lane, I think.
Yeah.
But he's struggling mightily in terms of deaths, but net worth is not so bad, 400.
And you're trying to balance it with how much the Ursa's getting on your team, so it feels pretty good. But here Newbie now are trying to help that a bit. They head to the top lane. Afterlife tries to TP out, but there's a good burrow, but then Sayoma shows up with that Fade Bolt. Will zap down Kaka once again. Eventually Mugi will be able to move on in and get the finish, take down of to Afterlife. And Faith could be next. No! Able to de-aggro the tower a bit. He runs on out. Sayoma's not going to be able to get the finish, and now it's Weaver moving on in. Can he take down the Grand Magus? No! He hits the showers, turns it around, zaps him with the Fade Bolt, and Mugi's going to try to run out the other direction. He will be fine, but a Shrine will be forced.
That's why you save the Shrines.
Yep.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. He's going up for a bounty rune.
Super greedy. He's like, I'll just take the bounty too.
Yeah, he has an Observer Ward up there, but that's still pretty bold.
He's not done. He goes deeper, drops down a new Observer Ward behind the tower, and almost gets close enough to cancel out a TP there of the Jakiro.
Kaka is looping in. He's going to find Soma.
Soma hits him with a telekinesis, says don't even think about it. Runs the other direction, is able to rendezvous with the little one.
It's bad for Newbie that Rubik's getting all these +1s. He's 1-0 and 5 on the Rubik, and I definitely don't think that's a hero that you want to be giving a lot of items to in this game. Stealing Ravage could be devastating. Burrow Strike's really good.
The value is ridiculous. Yeah, it's just like he's salivating, I'm sure, looking at the lamp of Newbie and what he's going to get at level 6. Nice pullback right into the cogs. Mugi's going to be forced to try to eat through his way out, but can't do it. The setup in this top lane is quite ridiculous, and Sayoma is putting in some serious mileage in this game on his Rubik, too. Now Newbie looking to swarm on in. SCC getting into action now. They actually headed up north, and it's going to be Silent TPing away. Afterlife does have a TP as well.
And they missed
will commit it. Newbie struggling a bit on trying to find the gank here at the top, or not going to find their opportunity.
Well, DK ult up in 1 second. There they go.
That tower's already at half of its life,
That's the worst kind of rotation as Queen. When you TP, you don't get a kill, and then your tower just gets wailed on.
They have 4 members just, I don't want to say lollygagging, but they're just hanging around that top lane.
They thought they were going to be able to get a kill. I don't blame them for it, but now they're going to suffer the repercussions of not getting a kill, and looks like Smoke is not going to be popped, but Afterlife certainly senses something.
Yeah, he's like pinging up there. SCC will be popped at that moment, but they've already made their move for G. Hook shot's going to be, and he cogs them all inside to stop them from moving onto G. G's going to be able to turn around, gets good damage onto SCCC, but can't quite get the finish. Him and Afterlife now going to eat the huge Sonic Wave coming out, and it will help secure a double kill for KP. Newbie finally find the fight they were looking for. They have to put a lot of attendance at the mid lane, but your first Ravage is pretty nice.
They lose a T1 and for 2 ults. It's actually not the best trade for Newbie. I think if they had used one or the other of the ultimates, it would have been fine, and they would have gotten both the kills, but they both were kind of waiting for each other to do it. But you don't want to lose that tower early. This is quite early, 9 minutes in against a TK that already died. How many times has he died this game? He's 0-4-0, but he still got the tower. That's objective gaming at its finest.
Speaking of getting towers and objective gaming, it will be Mugi grabbing up the top tier 1. He's thinking about diving deep, looking to go for Silent. G's here too. Steps forward with the Brief Fire, hits him with the stun. Mugi. Oh, he wants to finish his plate here. He's getting baited in. Potentially Silent will ultimately go down, but Afterlife now shows up, and he's going to get the battery salt off, and now Mugi, was it worth it? Diving in deep. He does get the tower too, plus a Crystal Maiden, but you know, G finally gets a kill. So now he's 1 and 4.
Nice.
I like how you're nice is exactly how I expect the nice to be in a chat wheel.
Yep.
Nice.
I've used that a lot of times. That's probably one of my most
I
often
can't
used
believe
chat
they
words.
don't just take your, they should just take your nice and make it the voice wheel nice.
Nice.
And now it's going to be always want to fly right
This
into
is
the
awkward.
pit. Always want to fly. Aloha dance into the pit. The real you. And he has bodyguards here. Kaka, though, as you can see, Invis scouting the whole thing out. Oh, a sentry gets dropped, but that's the moment the Afterlife has already made his move in. He pops out the dust, and they're going to quickly shred through Kaka the second he's able to show himself. Faith also going to be going down. A good head start for Vega on this one. As they drop down 2, they will end up losing Afterlife. But Mugi in a lot of trouble. Zapped up with that Fade Bolt.
See, this is the thing. They used the Tide Hunter ultimate and the Pop ultimate, and they're like, okay, let's go straight into the pit. And now they're like forced to fight with an ultimate, and they're going to get slaughtered.
They are. The watermelon gets toasted as he gets dropped. Kaka just back from the dead, able to get the the epicenter off, but my God. Silent lets it rain from above, and all of Newbie scatter away, very low on life. They can't make an approach. They can't accept the fact that this Rosh is happening. It looks like the Shrine had just come back up. They all will heal on up and could make a new approach here. This is getting stretched out long enough that could turn trouble for Vega. They will knock down Silent. With the help of that Sonic Wave, Afterlife, though, was able to make the move in for Kaka, locks him within the cogs, and they will be able to get the finish. Sayoma picks that one up with the Fade Bolt, and they get the turnaround takedown of Afterlife. A double kill going to be awarded to Mugi. It's a very long-winded skirmish around this Rosh pit.
Ravage is back up. Sonic Wave was used. Is Ravage going to be enough to stop this Roshan attempt, though? Roshan's at like 2/3 HP.
Looks like Ursa stepped off in the meantime to just get back into the grind of jungle. But Crystal Main's back now, and they ping it out. So they are going to be heading back in there.
And their top Shrine's back up again after the Rubik used it.
That's good for Vega. And we'll have to see, though. I imagine KP is going to be watching things out. He's farming bottom lane for now, but a TP will be on hand in case the approach will be there. They have that ward to scout things out on the Rosh side.
I think Vega should force it again. Maybe once Freezing Field is up again, because I think that was a pretty big spell in that fight. And Newbie are all huddled around the pit, very scared and wary of Ursa. But Ursa realizes that Newbie cannot do Rosh by themselves.
No, they cannot. They do not. They're not Rosh formidable at the moment. Vega popped their smoke. Oh, I think they want to. It looked like they're trying to make an approach onto KP. They take him out. They take out the Ravage. Full rotation looks like for now to the bottom lane. Not going to be able to get that grab. And KP, it's hard to tell what he's going to be moving forward for item-wise here. Is there something more appropriate outside of maybe your... Oh, it looks like, okay, he's going to go for a hood.
I would say Blink. I like Blink Rush.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was going to be like a Blink or a mech. Freezing Field for Crystal Main to push back that mid lane, it would appear, so that goes on cooldown. But in the meantime, Vega didn't make that full rotation towards the bottom lane and were able to claim the Tier 1 tower. So they've totally stepped off from the Rosh pit for now. Hook shot, mid lane from Afterlife here. A man on a solo mission, but could be successful. Not going to be successful. Is able, though, to make it away in the back of a TP. Almost gets the solo pick.
Would have been a lot of style points if he got that.
Yeah,
he got that kill
behind enemy lines for that one too. Fortunately, can't quite get the finish.
And now that Rubik's level 6, things are going to get real bad, I think. Or he's level 7 at the moment, but
he's like, "You want to Ravage now? I'm ready."
Even without that, like he got so many Fade Bolts off in that last fight.
Yeah, he's a Fade Bolt KS master this game too. Oh,
Mugi.
Got him with Telekinesis. There's the pullback. He's got the Spell Steal. Did you still need? I didn't even. Oh, he's got Burrow still.
Yeah, I mean, Rubik is just ridiculous this game. I'm telling you.
Yeah, very nice. 2 big sets of lockdown for someone as elusive as the Weaver. This is going to be a serious problem for Newbie. Sayama's having a hell of a game already.
Is this an NNN 6 game?
Do you have to explain it, or do you want me to?
You can explain it.
So obviously, isn't it 6 NNN?
6 either way.
Yeah, it would be. So U9 flipped upside down is 6 NNN, and I guess according to the Chinese meme, if a team is typically doing bad, they also consider it flipping the car. So they flipped the name U9 and made it 6 NNN for those games where he happens to not be doing so well. And he's like, I'm just going to change my name to Mugi. You can't flip that.
You could. Woogie.
Woogie? Almost a better name than Mugi. Mugi. Scooching his way back on forward, but looks like Vega will head out the other direction right now. Your Ursa's still flexing the top of the net worth right now.
Kaka goes for an epicenter up on silent.
We're not watching that, though. I'm seeing bottom lane. The epicenter play, though, is going to reward the pickoff, and SCCC will be able to get it. All for the takedown of the little silent. Burrow committed for that one.
Poor CM.
Yeah. She has to tank it, but not the worst thing ever. She is the lowest net worth in the game.
Dude, newbie keep checking rows. They are death.
They're paranoid. They're like paranoid. They're just like, you guys in there? Okay, good. Wait, did you see him? Okay. Are you sure? But Vega are fine with that. I mean, they haven't. It doesn't even look like they've been thinking about it at all. They're more content on farming, and every time newbie put the attendance towards that Roche pit, other lanes are going to be free elsewhere, and that earned them that tier 1 takedown bottom, and still a lane to kind of farm on forward with. They have the ward on the high ground as well, so they can even see that nobody from newbie is in the perimeter. They just can take advantage of that full front. Meanwhile, it looks like they have made a nice, juicy Griffey stack here for KP.
Moogie might get caught out over here.
Scan is out. I think that one was a newbie scan.
Yeah, it was on the shrine.
Yeah, didn't catch anyone on the left-hand side.
Gotcha, Kuchi.
Nice.
That's rough.
And he can utilize for a fun little approach or escape later on. And what's he got slotted up now? I can't see anything. I imagine the blink dagger would be a good grab at this point moving forward for your Tide, but we'll see if he finds more value and maybe some extra bit of regen or sustain for the team. They have made a hard rotation now all the way to the bottom lane, where we still see our Ursa and Sayoma combo farming it out, but newbie not making any aggressive approaches. They did get that one pick down of the Silent Crystal Maiden, but here we see top lane. Vega back on the move, a 2-man hit squad. It is going to be Kaka able to make it out from the cogs with the burrow, and that'll be the end of it here. I'm not sure if Silent, no, he did not have, oh, he did do the freezing field.
Just didn't have enough frostbite to keep him in place.
And now is the time where Vega have creeped themselves within the pit. But newbie just outside waiting. Actually, Kaka, Burrow's inside the pit. Conveniently for Vega, they stepped away at that moment. They're going to be bringing down the Sand King. KP is there. He has that Ravage. Sayoma is waiting on the high ground ancient camp, though. He's like, go ahead, Betty. Use it. And inside is our Ursa friend, able to utilize that blink dagger and juking back any sort of potential approach of newbie.
This is awkward.
Super
I think Vega
awkward.
just have to wait for them to reset at some point.
Who's going to leave first? It's a standoff.
Should definitely be Vega.
It looks like that's already the case. G's already taken his business all the way up to the top lane in hopes of pushing forward for that tier 1. And newbie are just going to, we're all together. I guess we can take it to the mid lane. Trying to make a tier 1 happen here. Faith will get it started with the liquid fire. Ooh, ice path to the high ground. But Sayoma quickly blinks away. Steps away, move in for G. Back from the top lane, eats the Sonic Wave, plus the Epicenter now coming out. And then they move in with a hook shot. Cog's going to be there. Stolen Sonic Wave and fires it right back onto newbie. Newbie looking to jump on out, but it's now Vega's time to strike, and they quickly take down 2. A pullback's going to be there for SCCC. He's able to blink away, but the jump is on. A new blink there from the Bear. Fade Bolt is able to connect, and he goes down with the last thing of the urn.
God, Rubik. Woo! Dream Rubik game, I tell you.
This is awesome.
Dream Rubik game. My God.
Sayoma. Wonderful game for him already, and now with that, Vega can move themselves in the pit and finally get this Roche down.
That was a sick hook shot, though, by Afterlife. That was, I think, the turning point of the fight right there, where he cogged like 2 or 3 of them and just made it very difficult. Oh, are they
awkward for G. Macropyre's there. They get it down, and it is going to be picked up. But now Loyance could be in a bit of trouble. Swings for the fences here, but it's a cog trap in for KP. He's eating the battery salt, and he can't get anything quite off yet. He's running back out, but eventually will get slashed down.
And Shukuchi stolen. And have fun with that, Rubik.
Faith is trying to make it away here. They could lose their Aegis life fast, but G's now shown up, looking to come in from behind. Afterlife, the hook shot connection, bumping back the others and locking in Faith will help him secure that one. They will end up losing the Rubik as he gets blasted down from Moogie. There, the freezing field comes off and helps secure the finish of Kaka. 3-for-2 trade, though.
Dude, newbie have lost so many heroes. This pace of the game is way too fast for them. Fighting against an Ursa who is not really that cooldown reliant when you have a Tide and a Queen of Pain, it's not working out for them at all. They need to slow down the pace of the game till at least Weaver gets Linken's, I would say. So Rubik's life gets a little bit more difficult, but if you wait, then G's just going to keep on knocking down all your towers and get a Shadow Blade and pick off like the Queen of Pain, let's say, who's going to go for the non-Linken's build, the Veil into the Orchid. So she is very susceptible to the Shadow Blade gank or a Blink Ursa +1.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I'm not sure here for Newbie what they're attempting to hold out for. It feels like a late game horizon, if anything, but the approach of Vega just seems to be a bit too strong at the moment, and the pacing is just right there. This glyph will conclude, and that will be a free tower for Vega. A trade's coming out from Newbie as they pressure down the bottom lane. I'm just looking at the fight recap of that recent exchange, and again, this Clockwork just at the top of the damage, too.
He's putting in work.
Yeah, the team overall is just doing a lot. It was a struggle for G, of course, in the mid lane, but he's been there for a lot of these fights, and obviously he's doing the job as a tower hitter to tower hit. And it's helping Vega be able to move forward with this game so they don't get kind of stalled out. And they are all going to be able to acquire that extra bit of purse.
Something that's also quite amazing about Rubik this game is the null field. If you look at Newbie's lineup, it's
magic,
very magic based. And the Troll last game had the magic resist talents. That's why he was like so incredibly tanky. And having null field 20% for your whole entire team.
Yeah, and I imagine some of the others, do any of them have talents of magic resist? I mean, that will stack with it as well.
Clock has one, but usually people take the battery assault damage.
That's true. Oh, there goes Burrow. Swarm comes out. They've already made their jump. The Ice Path's good timing to try to slow them down. Now a Ravage step in there for KP. They are going to be able to get the finish of Kaka. Stolen Ravage! Hello! Drop down from Sayoma, and he puts it right on top of the heads of Newbie here, and it's another disaster for him. They lose 3. Oh, poor panel. So much faith in Newbie.
You gotta respect the Rubik though. Like Soma is just, that guy's ridiculous on the playmaker supports.
I mean, I think they were saying at the start of this series, Sayoma had been notoriously known for having a lot of significant like disruptor games and even some good Crystal Maiden games, but
yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't actually come into prominence in that scene.
Condolences. And quick slash takedown. Faith's gonna get dropped just like that. The Ursa showcasing how he is totally in his prime. Now sporting over a 10K net worth. He is up there at the top. With Weaver still trailing behind, 2K behind that.
Oh, the arcane dragon form. Oh, the value. I think the most incredible thing about this game for me from Vega is how they played around the Roche pit. Like just them being patient and forcing Newbie to sit there a lot of the time.
Get him paranoid about it.
Yeah, and they took down the T1 early and mid, so they don't have good control of that area at all, and that's why they had to be there as 5. And they played around the Ravage cooldown the first time they attempted it, and then they backed off and waited for Newbie to be like, okay, we have to farm, this is not working out for us, and then they went in again at that exact precise time that Newbie didn't really want them to.
It's got to be concerning for Newbie fans because this Vega lineup's coming into this tournament like we're still new. We're a lot of individual players who've been across a lot of many teams, and we're just trying to still find our chemistry and work as a team and not as individuals. But it's Newbie, the team, that look like they're not working as a team whatsoever, and Vega just getting everything they want here. SCCC is barely able to survive. Faith steps in as the bodyguard. Take me instead. Take me.
Yeah.
And he goes down.
The thing about this draft that they have, though, it is a lot of individual skill. Like, Rubik has had huge individual plays. The Clockwork with his hook shot, too. And then I think Ursa is not quite as difficult as some of the other lineups that you need to pull off. You just need to be able to play around Roche, and the Ursa player can make that call himself.
Yeah, that's a great point. So Vega just kind of making a complementary lineup to, or draft to their
It is really
lineup.
important. You don't go for good 5-man drafts if your chemistry sucks.
So no Wisp. No opportunities where Vega can really shine, like Sayoma here and now.
And they had the Rubik in the mid lane at the start to protect G because they need him to have a good laning phase. Like a lot of these small things come with playing together a lot. Their teamwork's not great, but in like straight 5-on-5, but I think their individual play is stellar this game.
And Vega take to the bottom lane now. Newbie have been splitting the pressure across the map as much as possible to stall things out and avoid confrontation with Vega while they're so big and beastly. Vega already at the point where only one more outer tower stands for Newbie before they're going to be ready for a high ground approach. does look like, I mean, if it's already going to get to that kind of a point, how do you feel about Newbie and their high ground defense? It looks like they have a respectable lineup to work with the choke point quite good. You know, you have Macropyre, Epicenter potentially coming from behind, and Ravage. There is Wombo combo potential.
They have the DK, though. DK is really good at sieging high ground. He has a lot of sustain, so he's pretty resistant to chip damage. And he can also go... There's not that many heroes that can go and hit the tower once and do a lot of damage. Jakiro and Dragon Knight, the two dragons, I suppose, are actually really good at it because they have this huge damage over time. But not that many other heroes have that. Pugna, I suppose, can also do that.
Jump in here from the Dragon Knight. G able to get the stun, but oh, okay. KP tries to go for a
that
scoot
pipe
TP,
is so useless. I understand why he wants it. It's like for more team fight, but it hasn't done anything for him this game.
Yeah.
Like he just dies to Ursa. Ursa gives no flips about.
He's like, cool pipe. I'll shred you apart and then smoke it. It's just
he doesn't even have pipe, dude.
Tough stuff.
Yeah, he got a force set to deal with the Clockwork hookshot.
Yeah,
because Afterlife is owning this game.
Forces of abundance, if possible, here from Newbie. Maybe between Kaka and, of course, KP would be very, very helpful here. Vega just kind of holding out. They haven't come together and just kind of been able to finish out. They are making that slow rotation towards the bomb lane to go for the tier 2, but is there anything that Vega are holding out for before they can kind of take this to the final stretch? I mean, they're getting pick after pick here. They nearly take down STCC, barely able to make it away on the other side. And it does look like they will get a response play, will Newbie. Moving in, they get the finish. But look at that, Afterlife, able to catch up with STCC or catch up with a rocket or something, is able to take him down. And now the fight is on for Vega. They move in. Faith trying to walk away in the back of his ice path. He gets the force save there from KP, but ended up getting dropped regardless. G torches him down. On the other front, here comes Dance jumping in and getting the quick slash. He is now godlike, by the way. And Vega should be able to clinch this tier 2 tower. Things going from bad to worse, it feels, here for Newbie. 29-17, and it is now going to be high ground moving forward.
They have no solution to BKB. Ursa blinks in BKB here is God for 10 seconds, 9 seconds, however long it is right now.
G has his BKB too.
Yep.
This is just miraculous timing. I was posing the question, what are they holding out for? It looks like BKBs. There's our answer. Moving in, a slash on the KP. He's going to get forced back. And now G can begin to go to work on the tower. Newbie, pressure to now dish out of defense, have to bank on a huge team fight to be able to keep this game alive for themselves. But it looks like Vega are already going to be heading out the other direction. Roche just got back up, so they could make their way that direction and claim the extra life to make the closure of this game a little bit easier on them.
Whoa, stunned in for that creep. Crazy, dude.
Kaka is somehow going to waddle his way out. Faith not going to be so fortunate, but now Kaka is still actually trapped within the trees, and suddenly a battery assault will be there for him. He does manage to burrow to the low ground here, but Newbie might not be able to make it back inside where it's safe when Vega already coming in to go for closure. Suddenly now they have no Tidehunter, no Sand King, and they have no buyback.
On the bright side, they got rid of Arcane Aura.
Unfortunately, this Ursa will be low on mana for a while.
Important, actually.
Here we go, though. Don't move in. Sayoma pops the Lincolns with the Fade Bolt immediately, then falls over the Telekinesis lift. Meanwhile, it is going to be the jump of the Ursa, forcing the Queen of Pain back within her fountain. Vega gets some more.
Imagine if he had more mana,
up, but you're right. Man. Props to Newbie on this one.
Props to Newbie.
Crystal Main takedown has totally saved them on this game, and now they're going to be rewarded these few extra minutes. But again, the Ursa is up, and we could see Vega head that way. They've been just granted these pick-off opportunities and just taking advantage of pushing forward after them. They haven't been able to double back and just go for Roche. Newbie here now, though. They do not want to accept this. But already you can see the Jakiro now gone under the mercy of this Ursa, who continues to be a tyrant here. 14-1-12. Almost involved in everything. Moving on in, the follow-up hookshot. KP forced to dish out the Ravage. They do get a nice follow with a Sonic Wave, and potential turnaround could be here for Newbie, but now Freezing Field comes out from Silent and will help him get the finish onto Kaka. And it could be Vega going back the other direction. A jump in's going to be there. KP already pops out the magic resistance. It could be Ursa in trouble, and he actually goes down. That is a mighty net worth and a godlike streak. Going to be going the way of SCCC. Meanwhile, KP going to get dropped as G secures the godlike double kill here. They still swinging it about. He's blasting down SCC, gets it done. Now looks to go for Mugi. Says, I've had enough.
I cannot believe Rubik played that ballsy with the gem on him. He could have just died, lost the gem, and he would have been real sad. But he is a man.
He's a man. He's alive. He gets to hold his gem. And Vega still managed to get the better end of that trade. They do hand over, though, that big bounty. It's a big bounty to SCCC, but Vega can now come back to attendance here and maybe make some enough space for them to be able to go for the Aegis. The newbie resilient. Keep trying their best to throw their bodies at Vega and stopping them.
They got really fortunate with the BKB timing on the Ursa. His BKB ran off right before the Ty was about to die, and then he had Ravage, and they were able to sit up with that sick play. And now, yeah, as you mentioned, Roshan going to be the next play. Newbie did not manage to get to their shrine, so they do have that available to them. Afterlife looking for a hook shot, but
yeah,
they do have vision. There is that very deep ward that attempted to get dewarded by Kaka and Faith, but it is still up.
Yeah, they have, both teams have vision around that area. Newbie lost one of those wards, but this Roche is easily going to be taken care of here by Vega. So with an Aegis and some fresh BKBs off cooldown to work with, Vega could look to go for closure here. Newbie trying to split the pressure a bit and stall things out longer. A hard push through the bottom lane could help that a bit. And we see there Sayoma trying to catch out anyone from cutting away through that bottom lane, but...
Ooh, Medallion on Tidehunter. Nice. Solar Crest is one of Ursa's worst nightmares.
All right, on the way back, Mugi runs into arms of G and Sayoma. Mugi's going to go for the TP out. Oh, Afterlife comes in from the balcony, but doesn't line up the hook shot to be able to get the catch onto Weaver.
That was pretty close. I think he realized that he was too far away to hookshot the Weaver, so he tried to go for the gap closer.
And then
the cog block. Yeah,
I see.
I definitely do not think that was a missed. There's no way you can misclick that far as Clog.
Close, but no cigar there. Mugi will be able to make it out with his life. Silent, just keeping the pressure on forward through this mid lane.
He's just letting it go, dude.
Making it rain. And Vega are just going to equalize out the lanes a bit so that they can get back to the grind of pushing into the high ground a bit. Newbie, what do you say? Let's say Vega get this back on forward. They go to close things out, and Newbie managed to hold. They get a good defense in the high ground with a strong team fight, good synchronization of ultis, maybe misfires of BKBs from Vega. With that one strong defense, do you think that's enough to get Newbie back into this game with their lineup?
I don't think they have enough damage output. DK is very tanky. They have 2 BKBs and no field. Like I don't foresee them killing these heroes. They can maybe survive and maybe kill 1 or 2 heroes through a great combination of Ravage plus Epicenter like Sonic Wave, like only one fight that they've won in the last 15 minutes, but that was kind of a perfect situation for them, and I don't think they're going to get that again.
Here comes Vega with that situation of a push now, looking to make the move in. G's popped his Dragon Form, and they're going to quickly blast down Kaka. Sand King out of this defense for 40 seconds and no buyback. Mugi now looking to go into action, has that Deso, squares off with the Ursa. The Ursa fighting with everything he has. If he could burst down KP here with that first life would be huge value for him, but can't quite get it, so they will be able to turn around onto him and get that Aegis down. Meanwhile, G trying to burn his way past this glyph and being able to take down the tower, and it's going to be Aloha Dance in a lot of trouble, and they will get the finish of the bear. The tier 3 is going to be the exchange, and the rest of Vega frantic to make their escape here. Can Newbie get any stragglers? G blinks out, and it looks like the space will be there.
Not bad. Ursa for the T3 tower.
Aegis and Ursa, yeah, for tier 3.
Not bad at all. Without the sinking, they don't have enough follow-up damage. Just Sonic Wave after the Ravage is kind of it. Macropyre, I guess, is some damage, but man, Jakiro's actually quite high level 16. I thought he'd be a little bit lower, but that is the benefit of having that XP gain talent. Let it go.
Silent loves to cast more freezing fields on creeps than he has in team fights, but it allows him to build up some farm and just keep the pressure out.
Got to push out lanes quickly.
All right, well, you're telling me that it's either the successful in taking down a tier 3 with an Ursa and an Aegis. Are they going to have to get Roche 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more times? Like how do they move in and finish out the racks? How do they do the others?
They can take Shrines out now.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, the Shrines are a big deal.
It is.
I would say because it like almost guarantees them a next Roshan, and then they can go for the Rax. The Rax siege is a lot easier once you don't have that tower up, and it's not like DK isn't going to continue to scale. Like he's getting really big. He has Crystallis. He's going for a Bloodthorn too. So
snap. He
has AC as well. He hits hard.
He's actually top net worth, and by a good chunk, he's clearly just stepped over the Ursa and has become the real carry for the team now.
So 3,300 HP-ish, and then he has no field and a ton of armor. Like they don't have any like percent-based damage. I guess a little bit from Veil, but it's still a ton of HP to chop through. And then with Glimmer Cape, on top of that, 4 staff saves. It's gonna be a tall task. And, you know, this is why they drafted the Dragon Knight. They foresaw that, yeah, it's going to suck in the lane, but he's just going to be really good for us in the late game. He's a good tower hitter, and he's going to scale way better than the Ursa come this point in the game. And, yeah, then it looks like they don't even need to wait for anything. They took down a Shrine, and now they're in.
Here comes the Burrow. Can Vega dish out everything they have to make this defense the best that they can? Slide in from KP, gets a great ravage, but turn around and gobble of the cheese, and suddenly G is back to full and ready to fight. And now Newbie are going to be down 2 big ultis for this defense. They're making some pressure onto the Rax while simultaneously swinging it out with Newbie here, forcing him back and away. G, though, getting hit with that liquid fire. It's super annoying. And he'll step off a bit. Afterlife steps in, pushes him back with the power of the cogs, and they get the 1 Rax down. And Vega will step off with their winnings. SCCC blinks in, gets hit with a telekinesis from Sayoma. They pull him right back into the freezing field damage, and he ends up going down. 80 seconds, does have a buyback, and it could be forced out. Vega get their Rax and could walk away with it. Oh, but Sayoma is a man, let's not forget. He's blinking right back into the action, and they're going to be able to take the Weaver down. He does not have a buyback. He's out for 70 seconds. Oh, this could be the beginning of the end for Newbie if it continues to go horrific here. It's going to be Vega suddenly being the gatekeepers for the fountain. They get the pullback onto KP. And the BKB going to be forced out from Ursa. I think it's time for you to go, Vega. They head out the other side, and they are in firm control here. In the meantime, though, G goes to work on that mid lane. He's got about 20 more seconds, and he's already going to have that Dragon form back up at the ready. Now the buyback going to be forced out from SCCC. They might notice that the Weaver doesn't have one, and Vega could look to go for the end here. G out the other direction on the back end of his BKB, allows him to get to safety. Faith and KP will force him out and hold on to their mid lane, and it looks like they are not stepping away. Vega by now know that this Weaver is not buying out, and they're going back into action here. KP not having a Ravage, can't offer a whole lot more, and now the tier 3 is going to be going down into tension on the second set of racks. A jump-in hook comes out from Afterlife, locking Faith in place. A swing and a miss on the stolen Burrow strike from Sayoma, but he does sidestep the Fire Breath. A gem's going to be on the deck, and Vega are still going to get what they want here. The rack's going to be going down. The Weaver's finally back, but is it too late? They've already seen the loss so much. His home has been ransacked. The tier 3 also going to be going down.
Going back to the play that started this whole Rax push when they all in on the DK, I respect that play a lot. I think it was a super risky play. It's a high risk play, but that was the only way they were going to win. It was a small chance, and they took it. And the panel is wrong again.
Condolences, panel.
Vega. That was way better than they looked in game number 1, I would say.
Yeah. Man, Vega looked real good. And you know what? I would be scared about a team like Vega with confidence. Like, coming in and doing that to Newbie, they're going to be feeling themselves. And I'll say it already. Sayoma MVP? I don't know. That Rubik was awesome.
Yeah, he was. I think for sure. There were so many big plays that he did. And
the early game.
The stolen Sonic Wave was, I think, the first fight that actually put them in the lead. And I think you need to take away these early game tools that Vega has. Ursa in particular as a core, it speeds up the game way too quickly. And this Crystal Maiden, yeah, he died a lot, but Arcane Aura sped the game up way too fast at a point where Newbie had to fight in between their ultimates. Without Crystal Maiden, you might not be able to force the fights that often, but with the Crystal Maiden, Newbie was made quick work of.
Newbie are going to be down, but not out here. It's going to be a tough pill to swallow, but we'll look for them to fight their way back through the lower bracket of this group stage. Congratulations again to Vega. This means that they are going to be battling it out in the next upcoming series, so they'll take the small bit of break they have, and then they're going to have to battle it out with the previous winners. So let's just quickly throw things over to Nahaz and our panel to see what they thought about that matchup.
And his name is John Sioma. What a performance on Rubik as Vega Squadron advance. Our third Chinese team defeated in the first couple days of play. I had to do it, guys. Oh, what a performance by Vega. Give me your thoughts on that game, gentlemen, because we're sponsored by EGB.com. You know for sure who's going to win. We sure don't.
We suck.
Yeah, we had to sit down,
Merlini
but,
was right. We're here
as
to
for
pick
punishment, we now have to stand up.
I think Vega just outplayed them really well. I think Newbie decision-making was a little bit off for Newbie. I think if you look at that game, you don't have to force so many fights.
Yeah.
When you have the Ravage, you want to force a fight, but they kind of went overboard, and they were fighting into like these heroes that are very strong at this point in time of the game. They were trying to force it. Dragonite and Ursa, both very mid-game focused heroes. Newbie could have been more willing to let this game draw out, because ultimately you had to go high ground, and you're going high ground against a Tide with a Sand King as well. It was going to be hard for Vega Squadron to actually close out the game, and the longer it goes, the better Weaver is, especially against that Ursa.
Yeah, Newbie should not fight at Roche. They should maybe just let them kill the Roche and play from that. They've tried to fight there like even four times and kept losing there.
You've got so
Diving
much
the
AoE,
mid-tier 2
though.
was also not good.
It's so hard when you've got so much AoE, you got so many spells that are so good in the confines of the Roche pit. But you're right, it just wasn't happening for him. It's 2 games in a row when they drafted these wombo combo lineups and just can't take the fights in the right place.
I gotta give Vega a lot of credit. First of all, John Sioma, great performance on that Rubik. Gotta give that credit. For Newbie, a couple of things really stood out here. The first is Vega obviously anticipated that aggro tri-lane. They dodged it by going top. I think if you're Newbie, like you have to kind of expect that, right? Or maybe you see where the lanes go, because you kind of need that aggro tri-lane. You want to set up that good matchup mid, which they got the kills out of, but because of the Ursa that had an easier matchup, because that tri-lane was doing well, he was able to get up levels. By the time you switch a stronger lane back onto him, they can fight you already. And that was really the main crux of that. They sacrificed the DK, again, against most of the themes that we're talking about where you want to protect that mid and not sacrifice him. In this case, that was fine, because that Ursa managed to get off the ground. The other heroes managed to get a couple levels up. The supports managed to get levels up and be able to turn ganks around and protect the Ursa. And that was the key there, because you picked that Weaver to be part of this tri-lane to shut down the Ursa. And the Weaver is a hero that relies a lot on constant forward momentum. You need both offensive and defensive items. You cannot just afford to die in those little skirmishes. You need to keep moving forward and shut down the other laner, in this case, the way you're picking him in that context. But that never happened. And he just kept dying in these skirmishes. The supports had levels to make him pay for those dives or those kills. When you're behind like that on a Weaver in that situation where you were expecting to hold the tri-lane to stop the Ursa, it just, it doesn't matter what happens mid anymore. And I just think that the execution, you got to give a lot of credit to Vega and Newbie. I think they I don't think they played this one very well.
After halfway through game 1, I kind of changed my mind. I thought Newbie had the better draft, and I changed my mind about that whole tree and troll interaction and what was happening there. But I'm not going to change my mind at this time. I think Newbie still had the better draft. Yeah. I will say, for one thing, though, I think the Tidehunter was the one hero that that kind of stood out to me as just like not really fully fitting. I mean, they picked Tidehunter into a Rubik, which is already kind of bad, but then you're also picking Tidehunter into Ursa. The thing about Tidehunter is that I don't think you can just be a Ravage machine. There are plenty of heroes that can give you really good team fight opportunities from the offlane position, but you need to make sure that your other good ability, which is Anchor Smash, actually has an impact in fights. And the problem is, like, you couldn't play the Tidehunter against an Ursa. Your Anchor Smash doesn't do anything. You wanted to. It also didn't do like a whole lot against Dragonite because he's got high armor, but you can't like have this Tidehunter on the front lines throwing Anchor Smash or anything like that because he gets focused down by Ursa. So then all of a sudden the Ursa is forcing you to use Ravage in situations you don't want to. He was just a one-time Ravage machine, and that's all he kind of was in team fights. They would have been much more suited to have the Sand King as their offlaner and get a better team fighting support. Considering the way that this game kind of played out for them.
Yeah, I really agree with you. The Tidehunter forces you to play around this one gigantic cooldown, and I always feel like Sand King offers you so much more in terms of fighting potential and utility when Epi is down compared to Tidehunter when Ravage is down.
Or get an Enigma.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that the pick was okay for various reasons, but I think the timings are too important. If KP isn't able to farm, if he gets shut down and he's in fear of basically one round of spells from the Ursa one round of swipes from the Ursa bringing him down, it makes it almost impossible for him to play. You see, he couldn't even go for Blink that game. You want someone who stands there and then the Ursa isn't able to just burst him down, or you have to commit too much to killing him, which opens up the Ravage, or he's able to come directly into the backline and Ravage, and you have the damage to follow up with that. That's kind of what Tide depends on. When you're so far behind, you don't have the Blink, you're like basically easy to kill by just anyone who sees you. Then, yeah, the Tide feels useless in that situation. I think, just the newbie kind of lane themselves into that.
And I gotta ask you again though about the last guy that we took a look at there on the screen, Kaka. He's a guy that it felt like 6 months ago to me, you had to know where he was on the map at all the time. He had such a huge game impact out of the 4 position. I haven't felt his impact on newbies games recently.
Yeah, there's been some fan criticism and stuff in China as well about that, about his roaming play. But I mean, as far as the early game went, I think they achieved what they wanted to in the mid lane, right? They expected a huge disparity there. They expected them to be able to roam on DK and get kills. They achieved that. It was just what happened outside of that. And then Kaka's put in a difficult position as well. Once again, if you fall behind on the Sand King, as a 4 position, you need that Blink.
We are going to take you quickly to a live on-stage interview with Vegas Squadrons G.
要知道，在所有的中文解说里，好像只有我看好了他们取胜。OK， 我想问一下，是在第一场他们落后蛮多，然后在肉山那边可能已经进入一个颓势了，但是最后却翻盘成功了。想问他们是怎么做到的？
First of all, congratulations on the 2-0 victory against Newbie. And on the Chinese panel, we had a match prediction before the game, and he was the one that made a prediction that you guys will take the win. And for the first match, you guys were slightly behind, but at the Roshan fight, you guys turned the game around and eventually won the match. So what do you think was crucial to the first match?
Our BKB timings, obviously. When we have BKB, like 10 seconds BKB, it's really hard for them to fight us. We made some mistakes in defending the first Roshan and the first tower, so we gave them a lot of kills. But eventually, when we took our BKBs, we had a really good and lucky fight. Aloha Dance started the fight killing Kunkka before anyone saw him, so it was good.
他觉得第一场的关键是 BKB 的使用时间。当他们有 BKB 的时候，他们觉得可以打得赢团战。然后这场比赛一开始，他们一开始守第一座塔的时候有一些失误，不过他们后来打团战的时候很幸运的先找到船长，先把船长秒了，然后之后就是使用 BKB 的时间有抓住，然后就赢得第一场胜利。
好的，我们知道经过了2天的小组赛，3支参赛的中国战队全都进到了败者组，而 Vega 是取得了比赛胜利。所以我想请教他一下，在新的版本到来的时候，中国队好像表现不佳，但是他们却做得很好。那么适应新版本方面，他们有没有什么诀窍？
So now that we have some basically the group stage matches played, and all the Chinese teams are in the loser bracket, it seems like Chinese teams have a little bit of a problem adjusting to new patch. Can you let us know what are some of the key points about this match and what's to be expected?
I guess the new patch is a little bit more about early game pressure. You can still control the map later on, but you really need to have a good map advantage to do that, to actually farm the jungle every minute that it spawns and not being punished for that. But I guess new patch is always a bit of coin toss. We had like 2-3 days to actually understand what's going on, and we could be completely wrong, and Chinese could be completely one step ahead of everyone. But it just happened that we adapted this new patch faster, but it's a bit random right now. It doesn't show anything, like any team is good or bad.
他觉得前期要给予足够的压力，然后还是现在这个版本还是能够掌控全地图，可是就是需要用前期的这个优势来逐渐的掌控全局。然后他们也其实只有2-3天的时间来研究这个版本，他觉得还有很多东西是暂时无法确定的。他觉得，在打之前很有可能中国队伍对这个版本的理解比他们好很多，所以一切都是很难预料的。
好的，最后一个问题，因为刚才在上一场有采访过 Kuroky， 怎么来看待接下来的就是胜者组这场比赛 ？Kuroky 提到他们是来卫冕 SLI 的这个冠军的，那我想问问God 有什么想要回应他的吗
？In the previous matchup, we had an interview with Kuroky, and he said that it's very hard to predict who will be the winner of this match, and that they're here to defend the title. So, do you have anything to say about that?
They are definitely here for defending the title. I don't know. We will see what will happen. We will try our best to actually win, I guess. But they're a really strong team, and it looks like they feel very comfortable in this patch where they can actually farm all the creeps, and every player of Team Liquid has the space to farm them. So yeah.
他觉得 Liquid 是一支很强的队伍，然后他们的确也是来这里要保护他们的王座。然后他们这个版本也的确是很适合他们，因为他们可以把地图上所有的资源都完全使用出来，就是每一个兵线、每一个野区都充分的利用。
好的，那接下来马上将要进行的就是我们 B 组胜者组的比赛，将会由这个 Vega 战队来对阵 Liquid 战队。刚才小飞机又让我们解说来预测了，我这次仍然看好 Vega， 看这一次预测结果怎么样。好的，那这段采访就到这里，那接下来稍事休息，我们将进入到今天最后一场比赛。
All right, that was G from Vega Squadron. Great series by them. As our final best of 3 of the day is set, we will have Team Liquid facing up against Vega Squadron in one more series for a spot in Sunday's semifinal and a chance at the lion's share of our $100,000 prize pool. We're going to switch up our panel, take a couple minutes break. We will see you back here at the Star Ladder I-League Invitational for one more series today.